rage-inducing. I'm Joe Rethlin with my review of Dark Side of the Ring, The Killing of Bruiser Brody. I want to say right now that people like Jose Gonzalez, he can fucking burn in hell, and he will burn in hell for what he fucking did, being a goddamn coward, stabbing somebody in a shower just because of a disagreement, just because he couldn't get along with him in the ring, just because of that. No, he has to stab the person. He can't face him like a man. He has to fucking stab him. Carlos Colon, the World Wrestling Council promoter, oh no, he has to cover this whole goddamn thing up because he's a goddamn coward and a piece of shit and doesn't deserve to be in any Hall of Fame and deserves every bad bit of shit that happens to him. And the same goes for Abdullah the Butcher, who's a goddamn liar, a goddamn trash human being, a goddamn trash wrestler. And you know what? All the ailments and everything he had, it's his fucking fault. I have no goddamn sympathy for him or anybody that helped cover up this goddamn murder or lied about it. All of them can go straight to fucking hell for all I care. Now, Bruiser Brody was one of the best big men in wrestling in the 70s and 80s. Dallas, Puerto Rico, All Japan, various areas. Bruiser Brody drew tons of money. He was absolutely incredible. I mean, yes, he was a crazy son of a bitch, him and Stan Hansen, the last two outlaws, essentially. You can hear stories about them, but this is a recounting of Bruiser Brody's senseless murder in Puerto Rico in July of 1988, and I've seen this episode before. I'm reviewing all the Dark Side of the Ring Season 1 episodes, which means I'll be done here probably in, I would say a couple weeks if I just, blitz through some of them when I have time. But let me say this. This one may have been the most rage-inducing one until the Moolah one. Bruiser Brody, even if he was difficult to work with when it comes to some people, did not deserve this shit. Nobody deserved this fucking shit. Nobody of his stature, the fact that he was just a strong businessman, and yes, he took his character seriously, he did not deserve to be fucking stabbed. And also his wife and son finding out about this when they landed in Puerto Rico. It is a sad, tragic, and infuriating motherfucking situation all around. And let me tell you, I stand by every single thing I said about Carlos Colon. The only good thing that came from Carlos Colon was Carlito. And they did a stabbing angle in WWE with Jesus and John Cena. That was a great goddamn idea with the Cologne, a stabbing incident. Yay! Yeah, this episode was pretty fucking infuriating. Bruiser Brody was like a madman. Mick Foley doing great narration. Says he would have loved to have faced Brody in the ring. Tony Atlas, one of the last men to see him alive. Dutch Mantel talking about not wanting to face Brody because he beat the shit out of you. And it's just how he took his character. I mean, if he liked you, he would treat you, with proper respect and everything, and he loved you. But if he didn't like you, he would beat the shit out of you. Abdullah the Butcher, 53 years in wrestling. What you did wasn't fucking wrestling, Abdullah. You were the Butcher. You were a goddamn idiot. You could never get over long-term in a company. Otherwise, they'd see right through you. And I'm going to stand by every single thing I say because, sure, it's hardcore blood and gut stuff. That's not wrestling. What Abdullah the Butcher did was never wrestling. Even Brody could actually wrestle. He just liked that hardcore blood and gut stuff because he could brawl and he could do some really good shit. And Abdullah was Brody's greatest rival. They wrestled in WCCW and WWC. And, don't call me and Brody fake. I'll call you a fake human being, Abdullah. I call him that to his fat, goddamn, worthless, disgusting face and everything. And yeah, I'll make fun of him because guess what? I'm going to make fun of how he looks. I'm going to make fun of the fact he's got all these gig marks in his forehead. He could have envelopes there because it's his fault that he ended up in the shape he was in. I don't like Abdullah. Have I mentioned that? The fork and blood and all this stuff. And Brody, is a draw all over, All Japan Pro Wrestling in particular. Baba loved those kind of guys. Brody's widow, goes over stuff in the storage unit. The son's talking about. She met him in a hotel she was working at in Australia. They hit it off and everything. He said it's not going to be easy, but I will love you. And he did. You can tell he did. She only knew him as Frank Goodich, not Bruiser Brody. We see footage of Bruiser doing an interview. He talks about his football accolades, but then says, can we strike that? I want to keep my wrestling and, my wrestling character and my personal life separate, which makes sense. And that makes sense. He wanted to be his character. And then in July of 1988, he goes to Puerto Rico. And the amount of violence that would happen in Puerto Rico is absolutely insane if you take a look at some of this stuff. Fans would throw rocks, piss, crap, all other shit on the wrestlers, especially the ones they didn't like. They took wrestling seriously. World Wrestling Council was established by Gorilla Monsoon, Victor Jovica, And Carlos Colon, the noted piece of shit that he is, that does not deserve to be in the Hall of Fame and hopefully, rots from the goddamn inside. That's all I gotta say about a person like Carlos Colon. So, Colon's right-hand man, Jose Gonzalez, Invader won, because he was so upset about what Brody did to him in a match. He had to get revenge a number of years later. Now, yes, obviously, if somebody takes liberties with you, you would want to get revenge. Obviously. That makes sense. But not this way. Not this fucking way. Get liberties on, take liberties with them in a goddamn match. Get your revenge there. In the ring, no, he couldn't do that. He had to do it like a coward. Because he is a goddamn coward. And the fact that he did not spend one goddamn day in jail was fucking humiliating. Humiliating, but not surprising given the fact that Carlos Colon probably paid off the goddamn cops, because I wouldn't be surprised if Carlos did that. Just seems like that kind of piece of shit. So, one time, S. Special Delivery Jones was a friend of Tony Atlas. He was taking, Jose Gonzalez to the hospital, and Jose said, one day I'm going to kill that man. Brody made a ton of money in Japan, wanted to invest in World Wrestling Council. David Main, a world-class championship wrestling referee, said that Brody was owed a lot of money, and $25,000 or whatever, and he says, remember this, one way or another, I'm coming back with my money. He departs. Brody wanted to come in, clean house, because he bought in to the company, and he wanted to get rid of Jose. Now, Jose did just lose his daughter in a drowning accident about 3 months before. That's a terrible thing for a kid to lose. I mean, I wouldn't have felt bad if Jose died, but I feel for the kid. Every child should be able to live and, earn a proper living and, just basically be able to live life. So, yeah, that obviously could trigger something. But the fact that he decided to stab him, not face him like a man, how dare he, try to be like a man or whatever. Now he has to be like a goddamn cowardly son of a bitch. So, all right, let's recount some stuff. Dutch as well. Jose, Carlos, and Victor are talking in secret. Jose looked only at Atlas, brought him into the shower. Atlas apparently drew portraits and was going to draw one of Bruiser Brody and his son. And then Jose, as Brody into the shower, has his hand covered up. It's a knife and stabs him. Atlas stops more stabbings. There's 2 8-inch cuts. And Carlos stopped Jose. It didn't stop anybody else. And he says, don't. And Atlas recalls Brody saying to him, don't let them hurt me. Not him, them. So who else was it? Who else was it, I wonder? Was it one of the other wrestlers? Was it, somebody else that didn't want Brody to buy into this goddamn thing? That's what I wonder. But Jose Gonzalez was the one that fucking did it. And Mark Youngblood's yelling at Dutch as he's going back there. Invader stabbed Brody. And then all this recounting Brody to Carlos Colon, tell my wife I love her. Even though he had to have suspected that Carlos knew something about it. He just wanted to make sure he knew that his wife was loved. And Atlas lifted Brody. He's like, don't worry, I curl more than you weigh, which was cool. And Atlas stayed with Brody. The doctors finally got Brody. Atlas punched through a wall. He was pissed. Abdullah thought it was a joke at first, which, to be fair, a lot of ribs and everything, and then he realized it wasn't. Police arrived. 2 8-inch cuts. Liver was sliced, and Atlas punches through a wall. He's pissed. Jose showed up like nothing happened. He left and then came back later like nothing happened. Atlas noticed that people were laughing in the goddamn, locker room. And he threw a chair. He was pissed. The police are like, did you see what happened? Yeah, it was him that did. And he pointed at Invader and everything. No, it was him that did it. And Atlas then went out and faced Iron Sheik in a match. The show was still going on. The show actually hadn't even started by this point. And by the time Brody had been started. Or had been stabbed, and the show had not started yet. And it was like a fan had stabbed him. No, it wasn't a fan, and he pointed right at him. And then Savio Vega basically got Atlas's bag. They're looking for you because you're talking. And Savio Vega, one of the bigger legends in modern Puerto Rican wrestling, Dutch, said the hotel clerk, put all of Brody's calls through me. Wife calls. He says there's been an accident. He talks to the hotel clerk next day. Hotel clerk says, I'm sorry, your friend didn't make it. And then Atlas hears from Abdullah at a meeting, with the talent and everything, and says that, Brody passed away. Abdullah says the meeting didn't happen. Now, what reason would Atlas have to lie about that? That's the question. He hadn't lied up to this point. What the fuck reason was there for him to lie about that? Abdullah says he owned 5% of the company, which means he had a stake in it. It means he wanted to fucking lie, and he knew that Brody got stabbed. He knew. He fucking knew. I'm not saying he was in on it, Because I don't think, his goddamn brain could ever wrap around and come up with anything like that, even though he used a fork and blood and guts, was a goddamn piece of shit and fucking deserves every fucking motherfucking ailment he is suffering from. It's his fault. And when he passes away, when him and Carlos Colon and Jose Gonzalez pass away, I'll be doing this. They'll be rotting in hell where they fucking should be. So, we will contact you for a court date. The police says, fucking bullshit. Abdullah, had to break the news to the wife, and she was obviously sad. She identifies the body later. Jose never faced a day in jail because of a corrupt goddamn system. And, they thought, oh, it was self-defense. Nah, and he was a goddamn coward and a goddamn piece of shit. And then shoot interview with Carlos Colon. Can we not talk about this? It makes me sad. Because you fucking knew you did it, Carlos. You don't deserve any of the accolades you got, and you're a fucking idiot, and you deserve to fucking rot. So, All Japan Pro Wrestling does a tribute to Brody. 17,000 people cheering Brody's name. Wife and kid got to be there. That was great. Atlas draws really good. Drawing a portrait of Brody. It was very, very good shit. Abdullah was like, it's like I feel bad, or I wish he was here. Yeah, I'm sure you do, Abdullah. So you could say, yeah, sorry, Brody. I knew that you got stabbed, but I had to protect my interests because I'm a fat, worthless piece of shit. They couldn't have done anything besides stab people with a goddamn fork. And by the way, Abdullah, Carlos Colon, and Jose Gonzalez can rot in fucking hell. So anyway, agree, disagree with what I said? Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritland, and they can all go to hell. See you soon.